I want to bring in Conservative strategist Laryssa Waler now. Laryssa, good morning. Thank you so much for being with us. I want to begin by getting your reaction to the news this morning that the Greens are being left out of the debates, and specifically something that Jonathan Pennow said earlier today, that there was an effort being made by the Bloc and the Conservatives to push the Greens out.
You know, I think when we have limited attention from voters and the electorate and limited time and a real desire to see real debate between the people who have a viable chance of being prime minister, I think it makes sense to exclude the Greens. I just talked to a former Conservative leader just a few minutes ago. I bumped into him in the hallway, and he said when he was on stage, he had one interaction with the other presumptive candidate, who was the Liberal leader, on the entire debate stage. And I think that that's a disservice to everybody in Canada who actually wants to see real policy, real plans, and real ideas being discussed between the people who could be prime minister.
Speaking of who could be prime minister, we can pop up the latest research from Nanos that shows the Liberals and Mark Carney leading over the Conservatives. It's a horse race. I don't need to tell you that. And all eyes will be on the chemistry and what happens between Pierre Poilievre and Mark Carney tonight. What does Poilievre need to do tonight to succeed in this debate and be able to call himself the winner tomorrow morning?
Yeah, I think Pierre Poilievre is well positioned to do well tonight. You know, his French is impeccable, but more he understands the pulse and the heart of Quebec. He understands. I mean, he's married to a Quebecoise. He speaks French to his children, but beyond the language, he understands the culture and the nationhood that it means to be Quebec, and he understands how Quebec is different from the rest of Canada. Mark Carney, I mean, he's a quick study. He's preparing. He's doing the homework, and his French is getting better. I think we're going to be surprised at how well Mark Carney does. I think the Liberal War Room has done a very good job of lowering expectations to the lowest they could possibly be. But I'm hoping to see a fulsome conversation of real policy and real plans between the two leaders, not just fear-mongering and not just pointing fingers about a lack of a plan or this or that. The Conservatives have put forward mountains of policy proposals, mountains of plans, so much so that the Liberals actually have picked a bunch of them and re-announced them as their own. I'm hopeful that we're going to see the leaders talk about how they think not only can we go against the tariff war right now and defeat Trump right now, but also what does the next 5-10 years look like? The last 10 years have been really hard on the Canadian economy. We have to talk about more than just, the next 3 months. We have to talk about what the next 5-10 years look like for Canada.
I want to ask you lastly, because you point out that Poilievre knows Quebec well, yet the Liberals show more support in the province of Quebec than the Conservatives. Why do you think that is? Why do you think the Liberals' message is resonating?
You know what? I think the Liberals are lucky that they're not running Justin Trudeau. And I think that a lot of former Liberal voters are feeling like it was anybody but Trudeau and that's good enough. But I think the more that they get to know Mark Carney and what he stands for, especially he's got some interesting energy policies that might not be quite what Quebecois think they are. The more that they learn about what he actually thinks, I think the more he'll have to defend himself. Right now, being Justin Trudeau seems to be not being Justin Trudeau has seemed to be good enough, but I think the bar is going to get higher and higher as we get closer to Election Day.
Laryssa Waler is a Conservative strategist. Thanks so much for your time with us this morning. Good to have you with us.
Thanks for having me.